Good morning, everybody. Seems to be quite a few updates on Facebook today, so I am just going to settle in here while those who are wanting to find us will. So enjoy, enjoy. Hold on just a second. Right. I hope this is finding everyone in a beautiful, receptive place of uncovering some truth. So that's always important to set that intention. And many beautiful people are joining us. Good morning, everybody. Christina, Diane, Susan, Sherry, Karen. Wow, look at everybody. Robert, hello, everyone. John, hi. So feel free, as I share from my heart today, to offer some questions. I may not be able to navigate in between operating and focusing on the thoughts that are coming through and answer that at the same time. However, I can answer them post-recording. So don't hesitate in asking any questions when they come up as we travel together in thought. Before we do, I want to again formally welcome everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. And as is always the gift that we have, it's the gift of intention. It is setting the tone. Many people call it an opening prayer or an invocation, and we're going to call it today an invitation. So how does it feel when you get an invitation? Somebody wants you. Somebody wants you to come, wants you to be a part of something. And so we want to create an invitation to higher wisdom. Not that they are separate from us, but we want to create the space, the sacred container for that higher wisdom to be activated, to be allowed to participate within us. And in whatever way is comfortable for you, I invite you to join me in this invitation. So if you would, take a moment and close your eyes. Wherever you are, just see if you can pause long enough from the train of thoughts to just simply pause and focus on your breath. And in that pause, as you take a deep inhale, just find some appreciation for the beauty and the natural gift of breath. The fact that you don't have to micromanage it, that it is there. It is a part of the framework of your divine design. And just breathe. In fact, breathe the body. Breathe into those places that perhaps feel like they need a little bit more attention. So wherever you might feel some stress or some tightness, just allow yourself to breathe into those spaces. Did you know you have the power to direct that breath? So do that as if you are feeding your body. And it is in this deliberate pause, this state, that we invite all of that which is mastery, all of that which is higher wisdom, all of that which is the perfect patterning or the divine design that they say of intelligence. We invite it in now to reveal itself. It is unlocked. The welcome mat is rolled out. The door is open. And the invitation is extended for it to cross over into the threshold of being asleep to being fully activated and embodied. And so however that feels appropriate to do, just invite whatever it is that you feel is your divine support to come in now and to collaborate, to dance with us, to swim with us in this big, beautiful cosmic ocean of never-ending wisdom. And that is the invitation this morning. Do we celebrate that? And do we know that as we close our gathering today, that we end with something that is more elevated than what we were experiencing when we started? There is a deeper clarity. There is a higher involvement of joy. And we know that we walk away feeling satisfied. We walk away feeling as though we were able to receive exactly what it is that we longed for. That is the expectation and the intention of this invitation. And so we are grateful. Take a deep breath in with me. And let's say, and so it is. Good morning. Good morning. So I have been using the word unpack a lot. So we're talking about things that are coming through in terms of belief systems and thoughts and feelings, and saying, I am unpacking this. And I find myself using that term. And so I wanted to find some kind of imagery, some kind of helpmate to make it not just be a catchphrase, but to have some deeper meaning. And so the literal definition of unpacking is what? You and I have a suitcase or a box of something, and inside that suitcase or that box are things, clothing, items, memorabilia, necessities. And so we travel or we transport this suitcase or this box. And then whenever we arrive at a stopping point or a perceived destination, we do what? We begin to unpack those things. And so when it comes to unpacking belief systems and identity and thought, that suitcase or that box is very much like our physical body, the density of this identity as body. And inside the suitcase of our body, is a lot of thoughts that we have packed in there. We have collected those things through social programming, through demographic, through family, through all kinds of things that we have taken on or absorbed through environment and through domestication. So the suitcase of our body is filled and contained with all kinds of thoughts. Inside this body is our consciousness, be it very much activated and self-aware, or be it very much dense and closed. But inside all of this body is this thing that is consciousness, and in there is all of these things that we have packed in regards to who and what we think we are. And so to unpack, literally, is when we return home, we take the things out. We empty out that container. And then I thought, well, where do we put them? We sort of put them in shelves, and then we repeat the process the next time we go and we travel. We take them back out again. And so then with us unpacking belief systems or thoughts or feelings, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll take them out, we'll look at them, we'll put them away, maybe perhaps at night when we go to sleep, but then the next morning we pick them back up again. We repack this physical body with all of the density of these collection of things, of thoughts and ideas and beliefs and identities. And I thought, what would it be like to unpack, to truly unpack these things without the idea of putting them back in? In other words, what would it be like to begin to disassociate from the body as the entirety of who we are? To disassociate from all of the thoughts, all of the beliefs, all of the identities that we think make up this body, make up our worth. And as we unpack them, what if we take them out and we just look at them? We look at them from a place of non-attachment. We look at them from a place of curiosity, without any intention of holding them sacred or putting them back in, but just going, okay. And the more that we begin to do this, the more that we, as this container, this suitcase, the more we begin to empty ourselves out, and the more that we become unattached to form. Because you see, beyond the suitcase, or beyond the box, the body, beyond the thought, there is us. The eternality of us, the soul of us. Hard to hard to grasp sometimes. I think many of us gravitate to that as an idea. We love the intellectual nature of that. But to really dive deep in unpacking what that means is to be in the stillness and to begin to look at all of the things that we keep holding on to, all of the thoughts that we keep holding on to, all of the people that we keep associated with the thoughts that we're holding on to. And in doing that, we experience less of what we are as the cosmic soul and more of what it is that thing, right? And so if in my suitcase is all of my nice folded anger, and it's justified and it's beautiful and it's color coordinated, and then every time that I go to take this body somewhere, I take with me all of the things that I have packed that are my anger, and that's what I carry around with me. But what if I became not so attached to my anger? What if I took the anger out and I unfolded it and I looked at it and I said, okay, thank you for serving me. Thank you for adorning me at certain stages of my life. But now I would like to be able to move beyond it as the total identification of me so that I can become more in harmony with the soul of me, the thing that is beyond the anger. So we don't make the anger wrong. We don't make those things wrong. We just know that that's no longer who we are. We realize that we don't have to be confined with that identity. Where did all this come from? Well, I have sat with a quote that my friend Edward sent me back in January. And it's from a wise Indian sage that said, whatever is destined not to happen will not happen. Try as you may. And whatever is destined to happen will happen. Do whatever it is you do to preserve it. This is certain. The best course then is to remain silent. And that was from the Indian sage Ramini Marharishi. Oh God, I knew I was going to screw that up. Ramini Marharishi. So let me read that again because it's really quite something to ponder. Whatever is destined not to happen will not happen. Try as you may. And whatever is destined to happen will happen. Do what you may to prevent it. This is certain. The best course, therefore, is to remain silent. Ramini Marharishi. I just remember being so captivated by that idea. I remember being so captivated because in many ways it sounded like some kind of predestination. That in other words, when you and I arrive with our suitcase and we start collecting all of the thoughts, it doesn't matter what we do with all of those thoughts because whatever we are supposed to be as a soul is going to happen, and whatever we're not supposed to be as a soul is not going to happen. And I kept thinking about that because in many ways, if I interpret it with what it is that I think about philosophically and spiritually, it brushes up against this idea of free will and limitless possibility. And that's why I didn't want to turn away from it. I didn't want to brush it aside. I wanted to look at what was Maharishi thinking about, right? And so it was in the unpacking of that I began to look at what he was saying from a multi-dimensional perspective. That whatever is destined not to happen will not happen. Meaning, what if you then associated that with the idea that who and what you and I are is the soul, not the suitcase, not the box. We are the soul. The soul, in and of itself, is a perfect patterning, a divine design. And so whatever is destined not to happen will not happen, meaning that there is nothing that can destroy that which is the soul. There is no veil thick enough that can remove or bury that which is the soul. There is no chasm wide enough, no valley deep or long enough that will ever separate you and I from who we are, the divine perfect patterning of the all. And then whatever is destined to happen will happen, meaning whatever it is that you and I choose to unpack, to release, to transcend, transform, to invoke from a place of curiosity in order to go home to that macrocosmic place of the soul will always be readily there, and it will take us at the level of our choosing, at the level of that which is our unveiling or our commitment to self-awareness. So we will never be separated from the divinity that we are, and then we will experience the divinity that we are at the level of our devotion to it. And I keep still playing around with this because other translations of what Ramini Marharishi said was to then simply relax, to enjoy, to be, and to accept and to know what it is that you are connected to. That feels very congruent with much of the modern day philosophical teachings that I think are under the category of New Thought. Is what would it be like to relax? What would it be like to understand and know that from this place of principle, and what is principle? Principle is like this underlying cosmic law, that from this place of principle, that is the truth. That no matter how loud the noise of the effect is, that you and I can never be separated. There's nothing that will ever destroy that. So the sooner that we remember that, the sooner we are able to get about the business of participating in this movie called life. And so many times people will hear this and they might misconstrue it as not being involved, as not being, as not advocating, as just kind of sitting around and staring at your navel and going om. And staring at your navel and going om is a good thing, but no, that's not the entirety of it. There is the beauty of taking that, which is the soul, and expressing it through this physical body. Taking the unlimited nature and just running with it and dancing at the edge of cutting edge sensibility and knowledge. At experimenting at how much you can unpack in terms of all of the identity and begin to continue to free yourself when the world is telling you, no, you must be this, you must be this, you must be this. And so it isn't about running away from that, but it's about leaning into that and to bring consciousness and to bring love into it, to bring solution into it. Not aggravation and agitation and defensiveness in terms of what is right and what is wrong, but to bring love into all of that regardless. Because what is the ultimate thing? What is the ultimate thing that will happen that you as a soul will continue to express? So it's a lot when we start to think about I'm unpacking something. And to me, unpacking something then is literally about just looking at all of the things that we're attached to, all of the identities that we're attached to, all of the form that we're attached to, all of the rightness that we are attached to. And not hold anyone else hostage with that thought or belief. Not chain anyone else down, but realize you're just in a process of examining. And the more that we do, the more we empty out our suitcase. It's a fresh idea that I've just been spending time with, and so my thoughts are sort of all around because sometimes I'm in a state of awe with regards to the way in which it comes through, and I have to pause and I have to hesitate. And it doesn't sound particularly polished this morning, and that's okay, because there is a thought in my suitcase that says, no, before you talk about it, it has to be polished. And I'm like, no, just, be out loud, live out loud, express in the moment, and see if perhaps there is something there that we're unpacking together. And so when I think about the relinquishment of idea, and I relinquish the idea of the stringent nature by which we're told to do something, it really makes me look at agenda. It makes me look at the way in which we so want to become in partnership with other people in order to convince them of certain things. I was reflecting back on my experiences with Louise Hay back in the 1980s. And when her book, You Can Heal Your Life, had come out and it was doing well, she gifted me with a case of them, like 20 of those books. And all of this was still very new to me. And when I say all of this, I'm just talking about a new thought perspective, or an idea that I am love, that I am pure God expressing. All of that was still very much new, and it was still very thrilling and exciting. And when she gifted me those books, I remember my first instinct was to list all of the people that I thought should read it. And I remember mailing them out with some kind of note that must have said, you need this, or you need to read this. And I laugh at how arrogant that was and how egoic that was, because none of those people read that. And I doubt that either you or I would do that if someone said, you need this. But it was coming from a place of feeling so liberated and free from something that had been packed into my personal suitcase, that I wanted other people to feel that freedom. It was just misguided. That the best way to do that is to live it. The best way to do that is not to try to organize or manipulate other people into thinking that way, but just to express that. And in the expression of that, beauty occurs and beauty arises. And so I was thinking about the way in which myself and so many of us do that. It's like we get a gift, like the gift of the books that Louise gave to me, and then we start pushing it and organizing it and developing it and saying, you need this. And then we get seduced into the idea of marketing. We have to market it. We have to recruit. We have to do this. I remember my years as a platform minister, that so much of what we were told and so much that we were invited to subscribe to was, how do we grow this? How do you grow your congregation? How do you grow your message? How do you grow? Well, you know what? Growing, the nature of growing from a natural standpoint is just organic. There's no efforting. There isn't a flower outside that has to go to a workshop to learn how to grow. It just does, because the flower just is. It expresses its innate state. And I remember losing interest in the idea of needing to grow something and becoming more attracted to and unpacking all of that and becoming more empty and available to what would it just be like to live it. And as I live the message, or as I lean into the message, no matter how messy or how many times I fail, if I just do that, would that have more of a lasting effect, or would that be the most beneficial thing? And then I thought, well, look at me even trying to find what the benefit of it is. Just be the thing. Just be the thing. And you start to see that when you and I can be honest and look inward about what's the motivation behind this, because what is the motivation behind trying to grow something? Be it a business, be it a community, an organization, what's behind that? Is it possible that what's motivating that or driving that is some kind of fear? We've got to keep this going. There's an engine that starts to get activated that says, no, you got to do it this way, you got to do it this way. And so if anything is engined or fueled by fear, then we take that fear with us. And we smell fear, we see fear, we hear fear. And we may not be sophisticated in our smelling and our seeing and our hearing, but there's something in there that we can sense. Because we're all smart, right? Because we're a part of we're actually a soul, we're not a body. We're something so divinely designed. So we can feel all of that, of what's being motivated. And rather than what would happen if you take your divine idea, you take your path, and you just be it. And in the being of it, you love people, you serve people, you help people. It's not about proselytizing. It's not about trying to get them to do anything. We're just there. And so we're not becoming attached to seeing them oppressed. We're not becoming attached to seeing them diseased. We're not becoming attached to seeing them disadvantaged. We just see them as the beauty that they are, and we go and we champion that beauty. That's a wonderful way to pray. To not pray about the disease, but to pray and to champion the beauty and soul of that, because part of cosmic law teaches us that what we focus on expands. If I'm focused on, oh my God, I gotta keep this going, I've got to make this survive, then what we're actually focused on is the possibility that it won't. So you see, as we start to unpack all of this, we start to unpack our agendas. We start to unpack what's the fuel that's causing this. And come on, you and I know that that's what marketing is. That's what advertising is. It's about broadcasting something that's saying you're not complete and you need this. It's behind even all of that which is termed conspiracy, because somehow it's saying that, there is this threat, there is this danger. If. So if you unpack all of that and you go, it just is. So as Ramini Marharishi says, whatever is destined not to happen will not happen. Well, destiny in terms of what? Destiny in terms of the all. Whatever is destined not to happen will not happen. So what will not happen is that you will not be destroyed or annihilated because you are an eternal being. And whatever is destined to happen will happen. Do whatever you may to prevent it, meaning that you will continue to evolve, because that's what you are. You are an evolutionary soul. And try as you and I might to keep packing in thoughts that tell us otherwise, then it still will be no to avail, because we will eventually wake up. So my invitation is, why don't we wake up now? I find how much I've packed in my suitcase. Some days I'm better than others. Some days I take a lot of things out and I feel that emptiness. There are meditations where I feel that emptiness and I feel that freedom. And it doesn't take a lot to throw a couple of things back in. It's just a few encounters. It's just a few little things about feeling less than, an old thought that walks back in. But if you and I really want to unpack something, if we want to be in this world, then it's what I titled this. It's not about not doing anything. It's about being highly involved. Can you be highly involved? Can you be highly involved in your children's education and in their schooling? Can you be highly involved in your creativity and your business? Can you be highly involved in your spiritual community? Can you be highly involved in all of these things? And at the same time, can you have low attachment? Meaning that high involvement is coming from a knowing. It's coming from a place where you are resting in the assurance that even as systems crumble and dissolve, which they do, which nature shows us as a natural part, can we be so highly involved but low attached to the way in which it has to look, that we're all walking around lighter, that the container of this body, of this suitcase, if you will, is not laden by all kinds of thoughts. And that even when something happens to the body, have you ever had your suitcase not show up? And all of a sudden we're like, my things, my things. When the body doesn't show up, we go, my abilities, my abilities, my things, my things. And again, an expression of that, when we can calm and quiet and empty out and go, no, who I am and what I am is this beautiful eternality. Oh my God, what may I do with it? What may I do with it this go around? That's what we're here to do. Yesterday I walked around these ancient Indian mounds. It was grounds about an hour outside of Atlanta that are a part of ancient Native American culture, and they have these huge elevated mounds that were a part of their society, and they've preserved them. And I went with my roommates Tracy and Tulio, and we got there early, and it was great because there's hardly anybody there, and it was stunning, and it was beautiful. And as we climbed up to the highest mound, which is probably where they held ceremony, I said, let's take our shoes off. And so we took our shoes off, and we all went our little corners and stood there. And I remember closing my eyes, and I was like, I said, help me unpack some stuff. Help me unpack some stuff. Whatever you are, the wisdom of the ancients, and that's the phrase that kept coming to me, the wisdom of the ancients. Help me remember. Help me remember what's not necessary. Help me remember what's true. And I'm barefoot and I'm standing on the ground and I'm saying, help me remember. And as I stood there, I was kind of rocking in this rhythm, and it was so gorgeous. And it was so peaceful, and I could feel the wisdom of the ancients coming up from the soil into my body. And so I wrote, I welcome the wisdom of the ancients to remember through me. That was the first line. I welcome the wisdom of the ancients to remember through me. What does that mean? I welcome the wisdom. I have no hesitancy. I welcome the wisdom, and I'm willing to unpack everything that is the veil of that wisdom, to let go of the identity. I welcome and make space for the wisdom of the ancients, that which is cosmic, that which knows, that which is truth. I welcome that. I welcome for it to remember through me, like I willingly empty myself out and allow it to speak through, live through, guide through, act through, as me, to remember through me. And I'm just the skin suit. I'm just the willing vessel saying, okay, I'm just a suitcase. You can carry me wherever you want. But I have to let go of my burdens and my identity that says that I'm not worthy of that. And then as I welcome the power of the ancients to flow through me, I don't want to play small anymore. I don't want to waste time. There's no such thing as wasting time, but I don't want to belabor this particular capsule of existence playing small. So I welcome the power of the ancients to flow through me. And then I welcome the love of the ancients to express or to create as me. What would it be like? What would it be like to unpack all of that? What would it be like for you and I to just breathe and go, okay, high involvement, low attachment. And to notice all of the hurt, all of the fear, to notice it, just keep unpacking it. Just keep unpacking it. Don't make anybody else responsible for it. Just go, okay, I see it. So that you and I can continue to know that whatever is destined to happen as us as a soul will happen as we continue to be available to the wisdom of the ancients. Again, thank you so much for spending a little time with me here on this Sunday. I do love you. What does that mean, I love you? I think it means I see you, I feel you, I identify you, I have walked this path and am walking this path with you. And we do the best that we can as we unpack. And some of us are unpacking more swiftly than others. And it doesn't mean that we judge the rate by which someone is unpacking, but we acknowledge where they are. And by acknowledge, that isn't some trite thing. It's about just saying, I get it, I see you. Can we do that? If I were to give a caution or a warning, just be cautious of how much external noise you take in. I know for myself that when I'm not cautious, that's the thing that makes me start packing everything back into the suitcase. That what's going to happen? How am I going to pay for it? What's going to... and then the less that I become disassociated or disinterested in that, the lighter that I become, the more that I remember, and I can stand on an Indian mound, and I can feel that connection, and I can go, wow, we are such resilient creatures. So I champion your resilience today. I honor you. Be well. Go out. Be still. High involvement. No attachment. Thanks.